Welcome to the Sidelines Spill, the podcast where three moms with coffee cups and chaotic calendars unpack life from the sidelines.
From kids' sports to real-life mom moments, nothing's off limits. Grab your brew and join us.
Strong coffee, stronger moms, spilling it all. All right, welcome back to the Sideline Spill. I'm Heidi.
This is Monica.
And Sabrina.
And today we are going to be diving into something that every sports parent faces at some point, watching our kids struggle, whether it's the confidence, friendships, playing time, or just the weight of expectations. Now, today we're going to have a lot to go over and a lot of ground to cover, so we might be breaking this up into two parts.
Okay, I'm excited about this episode. Heidi, when was the first time you might have realized your kid was struggling with something?
Yeah, so Roman went through a season, I think was it spring of last year, where he was just burnt out. And I could tell that things were going awry when he was not excited for practice anymore. He had been doing chaos plus school soccer. Then he went right to track and then back to chaos. So yeah, I can just tell his passion was starting to fade for the game, which was really sad for me. I don't know about you guys, but I think that I enjoy watching him play sometimes more than he wants to play. And that's hard as a parent to actually really say that out loud, because obviously I want him to be having fun, right? But I also feel like I get FOMO when I'm not with my team too. But yeah, so it was really hard for myself we missed, I think, was it the whole spring season, basically. And he had been having some anger outbursts, nothing too crazy, but just where you can tell he was getting really frustrated too quickly on the field. And James and I did not like that at all. We didn't like seeing that from him. We allowed him to take the season off. And I think it was the best thing that happened for him because he was able to find his passion again. And I've been noticing that, this season and last season too, but this season he's really grown a lot. So
Smiling a ton.
Yeah.
We missed you guys so much. It was not the same.
I know.
That's right.
I was so jealous watching you guys go on your little games. And
should have reached out more. It was totally one of those things you don't think about in the moment.
Yeah.
So, for that, I'm a little bit sad. We should have reached out and just been we miss you guys more often.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. We have busy lives, and I could have reached out more too. So,
well, seeing Roman so happy, I swear it's a night and day difference.
Yeah.
You could tell there's the frustrations, and then just seeing him now.
Yeah.
A little fire has been lit, and it's you can just see the change. It's pretty awesome.
Well, thank you.
Mm-hmm. So, Heidi, what do you think changed? What do you think allowed him to come back in a better mindset? And what's different?
Well, I think that, for one, he just needed a break. He needed a time to kind of woosah and let his body heal from all the soccer. He played soccer for I don't even know how many years before he took a break, right? And I don't know. I just think that he grew up a little bit. I think us allowing him to take that break and not feeling so much pressure from us, because I'm not going to lie, I am that parent that is no, you're doing this. You're doing, we paid for this, you're doing this. And we've kind of talked about that before too, but at the point where he was at, where he was just not happy, I couldn't allow that to keep going on.
I feel like with kids too, when you give them the space and you're hey, it's okay, this is what's going to happen, go ahead and take the season off, or whatever the case may be, that gives them the confidence to step forward and be oh, she trusts me, or mom and dad trust me, so I can trust myself that I do need this. And that could have been something as simple as Roman being okay, well, I'm the same way. You start something, you're going to finish it. You're a part of a team, you show up. You don't quit. But there's that fine line of, are they burnt out? Are they having emotional struggles or the outbursts like you were saying and things like that? And when you truly give them that space to be like, hey, go ahead, take the space. You're going to do this. You're going to be okay. Then I feel like it does give them that confidence like, oh, okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and do this. And like you said, find my passion again.
I think him watching everyone playing too, he felt like he was missing out on it as well. So.
Well, and look at all those moving pieces. You said track, school soccer, chaos. Maybe individually those things would have been okay, but that's a lot of stuff going on right there. Different coaches, different responsibilities.
Right.
I mean, they're 11, right? Last year? He's 11?
He's 12.
Last year when this was happening,
right.
he was 11.
Yeah.
So
it's a lot.
sometimes I forget how young they are.
Right. Exactly.
And there is a little bit of pressure, and I know I was raised that way. It was like, you don't get to quit until the season's over.
Yeah.
You made the cheer squad, you need to see it all the way through. So I get it.
Yeah.
And age does, like you said, the maturity and stuff like that. That probably did have a little bit to do with it too, like him growing just a little bit and being like, oh, wait, no, I love this. I actually do.
Yeah.
I was just tired.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on.
Honestly, that was it.
I noticed also that when Xander has had a hard time emotionally, that's where I typically see it with him, right, is when we're talking about struggling, it's emotionally struggling. Whether that's, just, breaking down if something goes wrong or getting frustrated and ending up in tears, whatever that looks like on that day, it tends to be when he's feeling overwhelmed. So, there's not always a pointed reason behind it, but, I do think back to a season, it was 6th grade. They changed schools. They went to middle school. It's a new school, new environment. They're adjusting to new levels of homework, to new teachers. They were doing school soccer and club soccer at the same time. And it was just too much for him in the beginning, really, to be honest with you. And, I didn't want to give him necessarily an opportunity to not be present, but we did get to a point where I realized that the nexus of all of this was him being tired and exhausted and just adjusting to, how do I go from school where I have PE and then school soccer for like an hour and a half, and then I turn around, I've got a half an hour break, and I go to club soccer for 2 hours. It's just too much, And I will say it was too much in the beginning. And we allowed him to skip a practice here and there. We tried to make it so it wasn't all one or the other. So it was mixed and he could have a little bit of downtime. And once he really allowed his body to just adjust to the physical exertion that now was being required from him, he was in a much better place.
Right.
And I noticed that those emotions really calmed down.
Did he want to do the same type of schedule for the following year, or did he learn from that and decide that it was too much?
He wanted to do it again, ironically. He also, that same year, did track. And I will say he does not want to do track again. Track he did not find very enjoyable. And with soccer, though, I think because it's his sport, and that's the one that he loves and enjoys, and he has a lot of friends from school who are playing soccer, he wanted to come back and do it again. And I think also, to be honest, some of it is like I don't want to say peer pressure, but the peer element where your friends are doing it and your friends are your soccer teammates. And of course you want to do it with them, right? So why wouldn't you? And this he's now in 7th grade, and this fall when he had both those teams happening at the same time, he definitely managed it much better.
Mm-hmm.
Sabrina, what about you? Was there a time that you have noticed CJ struggling?
Yes and no. He's definitely a more laid back kid. If things bother him, I usually can't really tell too much. I did notice, and I'm not sure exactly which transitional period, but kind of similar to what you guys were saying, doing school soccer and chaos, there was a struggle with that. And finally one day after he played a game at the school, and then we were supposed to go to chaos, and he just like burst out into just like frustration and was just like, I'm so tired. I can't do this anymore. And I was excited because school soccer meant I got to watch CJ and Cross play together. And so I did kind of give them the push of like, try out, see if you guys make it. And they did. And I think I was getting a little bit selfish in the aspect of like, oh, I can't wait to watch them play together. They're a year and a half apart. So I knew at some point they would be able to. But when I saw that and Cross was even pretty frustrated, and the two actually show different emotions for like they're polar opposites. CJ kind of closes off a little bit more and Cross kind of has the outburst, but this time it was like the opposite. It was kind of interesting to see that CJ was like, I need my voice heard. And Cross was kind of like, I feel the way he feels. It was kind of more closed off. And I was like, okay, like we're stepping back. We reevaluated the whole thing, and luckily the school soccer was a very short season. So I think there was one more game after that. And so I was like, if you guys don't want to try out for school soccer, I'm okay with that. I said it's not a huge deal. I was just excited to see them play together. So I think when I saw him kind of outburst like that, I was like, oh, this is an issue. And I knew at that point I had to really just like put myself to the side and be like, okay, he's 11. He's not loving this. I want him to love it. We're going to stop.
Have you guys ever noticed a period where they were struggling more physically in the sport?
I would say yes, when Roman is not conditioning enough. You see the struggle a little bit more. But I mean, he's pretty naturally athletic, so.
I'd have to say not so much. I think there's been a couple little times where it's like, I'm so exhausted, that kind of thing. But like she said, I feel like CJ's kind of that way too. He's kind of just like, well, I'm just going to push through it. I'm good, and Cross is the same way with that. What about Xander?
I have felt like the conditioning aspect has been a big element at times. I don't think it's necessarily a consistent thing, and I don't know that I would say in general he has struggled. But when they went to full field, obviously you're covering more ground. You're a little more exhausted in the beginning. I also think when they go through growth spurts, whether or not they actually express it or they acknowledge or notice that they might not be playing to their best. Sometimes I've noticed that, something just feels like it's not quite right, or this is not, they're a little awkward, a little gangly, their run isn't quite as, sharp as maybe it used to be. So those are some of the things I think of as like more so like as they're just growing so rapidly that there are some growing pains in the sense that,
real ones,
real ones, and, the ones just getting used to your new body in this sport.
I agree, Monica. Roman did go through a little phase where, so he's always just been known for being fast. That's just like been his thing. And I felt like, I don't know, for a few months, maybe even a whole season, last season, I don't know the exact timeline, but I felt like he was running in slow motion sometimes. And I'm like, dude, what is happening? So you're probably right. That's probably exactly what was happening, is he's going through those growing pains, because he has definitely sprouted up like crazy. Shoe size has changed significantly. too fast.
Oh my gosh.
I was thankful though. I feel like the whole team, we switched to full field. They all went through that together. Yeah. There was maybe only one or two that were a little bit ahead, but honestly, all the players had to adjust. And we're second season in full field, and they've all adjusted really well.
Mm-hmm. I feel like the adjustment actually happened faster and easier than I thought it would.
Same.
Yeah.
100%.
For sure.
I can think back to that fall season, Heidi, when you mentioned that Roman was running in slow motion. Mm-hmm. I remember sitting on the sidelines with you a lot, and you were doing your mom thing, and I was constantly just telling you, "Come on, Mom, don't be so hard on him.
Yes.
He's doing great."
Yes, you had to hold me accountable.
It's always easier. You guys tell me if you feel differently, but it's always easier when it's someone else's kid. When it's your kid, you see things, unfortunately, for better or worse.
Right.
We see things other people might not. Maybe we're a little harder on them sometimes. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you guys feel that way, but that's how I feel sometimes.
I would have to agree too.
Yeah.
I don't know about you guys. This is something that I still struggle with today, but how do you both feel when you don't know whether you should step in or let them figure out what's going on, their issues, their problems, whatever it is?
For me, I felt like I had to step in with Roman when I felt like he was being too aggressive with other kids because of his frustration. I didn't want him doing something he was going to regret, right? It's hard as a parent to watch your kid go through that or be that person. And, we wanted to make sure we were holding him accountable for his actions when he was going overboard.
Was that hard for you to step in and help him through that? And was he receptive to it?
He wasn't. He tried to pretend like he was receptive, like in the moment, because he didn't want to get in trouble. But I don't really feel like at first he really wanted to hear anything about it. Right? He was frustrated. He just wanted to do what he wanted to do. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's a 12-year-old boy. They're all like that. But I do feel like he was more receptive to the coaches when they would have conversations with him because they're not mom and dad, right? And so that was really helpful. I'm very thankful for Josh and Athena for the help and the support they gave him through that because again, like I just feel like he was more receptive to them and he was more willing to hear what they had to say and take it in because he didn't want to disappoint his coaches. Mm-hmm. What about you, Monica?
So for Xander, where I've seen him struggle has been more so in his own internal pressure that he puts on himself and which then affects, him being emotional, whether that's being emotional on the field during a game or just during practice or after a game. And I don't know that I have a great answer on when to step in. Sometimes I just think it's hard to know when you should step in because it's really, I don't want to run in and try and fix all his problems for him. I want him to figure it out on his own. Mm-hmm. And when it comes to some of these type of struggles that he's had, I think he kind of has to figure it out himself, right? Because it's pressure he's putting on himself. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that's the right answer, guys. I'm still trying to figure it out.
I don't know if there really is a right answer to this. I think every kid is so different in how you have to respond and like how they cope with things.
Yeah. And I guess what I would say is that I have had many a conversation with him, but for me, it's not so much about stepping in to help him figure it out. It's more just continuous reminders and discussions and trying to help him process those feelings, but finding the right time to do it.
Yeah.
Because I feel like the time to do that tends to be not when he's actually frustrated. It's later, the next day, the next evening. Even just the other day, he was frustrated about something, and I kept asking him. I didn't realize I was doing it, but I asked him multiple times, "Are you doing okay? Do you need anything?" He's like, "I just need you to stop asking me that because I don't really want to think about it right now."
Oh.
And so I gave him some space and then circled back with him later, and then he was able to have a better conversation about it. But by not giving him the space, it was causing him to just be more frustrated.
I think that's really mature of him to be able to use his words and say, I need space. Because a lot of kids don't know how to advocate for themselves like that. So that's really good.
Yeah.
What about you?
Just to piggyback on that, with CJ, when we first started comp, we would do everything as a family, and because he was the only one in it. And then it kind of moved into just kind of me and him, usually, if Chase was taking our other one somewhere or staying back for rec, for cross or credence. And at first, it was always like, get in the car after a game, like, hey, how did it go? What did you think? And I was like spouting off all these questions. And in the beginning, it was okay. And he'd answer a few things and we'd move on. But as he's grown and matured and hormones and all the things, I've noticed that we need to get in the car and we just need to start driving and just sitting quiet. And because I started to notice slowly that he wasn't responding, or I don't know, Mom, and kind of more annoyed with me. And so that's something that has changed over time on the kind of like, I think he needs to work through what he's thinking in his head before he can even reiterate to me any of those questions or answer any of those questions. And so over time, just seeing that and like adapting to them is kind of cool, because I'm like, I don't want to fix it all. I don't want to guide too much. I don't want to tell you what to do, because I feel like growing up I had an amount of not being able to make my own choices. But I don't want to go so rigid with my kids and be too hands off and be like, oh, figure everything out. Right. So seeing him like see that himself, kind of like what you were saying, how Xander was able to tell you he needed space. I think that as the boys get older, if we give them that space on the emotional level, they're just going to continue to grow emotionally.
It was really funny because at the game on Sunday, when we had, some drama happening on the field, and I can tell Roman was getting frustrated, and my anxiety kicks in because I'm like, oh no, like what's going to happen? Like, what's he going to do? What's somebody else going to do? That's going to set him off, and I'm getting ready to text the coaches, like, sub him out. And my husband's like, you got to let them handle it. It's hard though, because as a mom, we want to like prevent things, but also allowing him to go through those emotions and work through it, I think has made him stronger in the end. But it's hard.
Well, didn't you just say too, recently he subbed himself out?
Very true.
So those are maybe in those situations where you're like, I mean, I know James was there to tell you and like help you through that, but like think about like the growth he has had.
Yeah.
It's been incredible. And so like, if you feel that urge to text the coach, be like, oh wait, he just subbed himself the other day. Like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That definitely. He knew his limit and he's like, gotta go out.
Right. So I need to trust him that
But your mama,
learning. Yeah.
That's totally understandable. I'm
for sure.
Same.
The other thing I was going to say, the talks coming home. I learned, unfortunately, I'm so sorry for my daughter if she listens to this. I had to learn from her what not to do because she played basketball for many years through junior high and high school. And, apparently I knew all the things about basketball once the game was over. Like, you should have done this. Why didn't you do this? Well, she was always the aggressor as well, but it was because she was a lot taller than all the other girls. And she just came off more intimidating. But I think I ruined her passion for basketball by, I guess, just the talks that we would have in the car weren't very encouraging to her. And I think that I've learned that that's not the best way to be. Like you said, Sabrina, allowing them to like process what happened before having the conversations with them.
So let me ask you this, Heidi, because that's a big thing to say, that you ruined her passion for it. Is that just how you feel? Is you feel guilty about that? Or has she told you that you did that?
I mean, she has, I don't know if she's said the words. I don't know if she has said the words like I've ruined her passion, but I know she would not be happy with me after our conversations. And, you know, again, it could be mom guilt, just feeling that, but I really think that it had you played a part in it.
I was going to say, give yourself a little bit of grace. Because, you know, I was sitting here thinking, just like running in my head what my parents maybe said to me. Nothing, because I did cheer.
Yeah.
There wasn't really, it was always like, I'm proud of you. Like, there really isn't a lot to go off of. I didn't make the wrong pass. I didn't. And so me coming into it, I don't know about you. I don't know what sports you played or anything along those lines, but I'm learning for the first time because I was actually never taught. It wasn't an experience for me. So was there actually experience with you to teach you how to mom a player?
No, not really, because I didn't play sports.
Exactly.
I didn't play sports. So, and I think that's also, I wasn't pushed to play sports. And I feel like I also like want to push my kids to do more things because I wish I would have done sports as an adult. Like, I'm like, man, I wish I would have had this like team to grow with, but I wasn't pushed to do it. So I think I also try to push my kids or encourage them to at least try things. And I get frustrated when they don't want to. I'm like, I wish my mom would have like encouraged this, you know? So.
I think it's safe to say you probably didn't ruin her passion. I'm just going to say that.
That's what I was trying to get at, Sabrina. So I'm glad you
try
picked up on that.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that.
But how have you taken that and experience and applied it to like your current experience with Roman?
Yeah, I was saying, I just allow him to process his emotions really before I'm asking him 1,000 questions in the car. Like, what could you have done better? What do you know? I try, if I do feel the need to say something in that moment, it's more like, what do you think you could have done differently today? And more so that happens when there has been an incident on the field that maybe we weren't happy about. So
I will say the question I've come to realize with CJ, I can say at least, how do you think you did today? And then if I get a negative answer, which is hardly ever, but if I get a negative, I know it's definitely processing time and to be quiet. And then other times if he's like, good, I'm like, oh, okay. And kind of like see and kind of test the waters. Most of the time I just get good. So I'm like, okay.
I hate the one
son.
word.
Good talk.
Yeah. I hate the one word answers.
I'm like, okay.
You know, I've tried asking the questions in a different way to get a different answer. And sometimes I just think they just need to be in the right frame of mind. We sometimes have our best talks. Like, on the one hand, this is very intentional, I'm sure. But it's like when it's time to go to bed and you're tucking them in and all of a sudden they want to talk about everything. And you know what? I will take that opportunity, and next thing you know, it's 10:30, 10:45, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you got to go to bed. But I'm just so glad we had the time to talk.
Yeah.
I think with boys too, I've got the 2 boys. No eye contact and driving is usually the best time for us because they're not feeling like you're honing in on them. They're like, what, this question, that question. It's like less like so serious. And they have the chance to like look out the window and answer or whatever. I've noticed that. Or even like laying next to each other on the couch or in bed watching a movie, and we're like kind of the opposite and just kind of like hanging out and asking just simple questions just to dig a little bit deeper, because I've noticed that the boys are starting to get a little bit more introvert with like feelings and stuff. And so I always just plant those little questions. And is there anything you need mom to help with? Because that's a big thing where we've had those conversations of, I want you to make your own choices. I trust your judgment. You can tell me anything. I'm not going to love you any less. Things like that. But then also letting them know, if you tell me something that's like very crucial and important, I might still need to talk to a teacher or, go further. And I want you to know I'm only doing that in your best interest, because it's time for mom to take over.
Yeah. Heidi, do you have any things that work well to get Roman to open up?
He's not a talking kind of kid. He's very introverted as well. He does talk, like if it's not after a game or something, and he likes to have like mom Sundays, and it doesn't happen as much as I would like it to, but I feel like those are the days that I get the best conversations out of him. Just having that one-on-one, no expectation kind of conversation.
So we talked a little bit about having, conversations in the car or at night or wherever works best for our kids. And I realized, Heidi, you said that you felt like some of the coaching that you were giving your daughter had a negative impact, but sometimes maybe there is a need to provide feedback or coaching. How do you guys feel about that? Do you feel like, hey, we just shouldn't be giving any coaching to them? Or if you are providing coaching, how does that look for you and your boys?
I have to say that after now being in this a little bit longer and realizing that I don't know anything really about soccer, I don't have a place of coaching on that aspect. I could say, take it all the way, do this, go faster. But the coach could be telling him a completely different thing. And I've noticed over time, it just frustrates him. It frustrates Cross too. Credence, not so much. It's always like, just go get a goal, because she's still little. I've just realized that I don't know enough at all. And I have no room to coach either boy in soccer. Yeah. But on the emotional level, that's my job. But I also feel supported by the coaches, because they've always created a safe space, a good space, a space where the boys can mess up and redeem themselves and still feel good about themselves. So in the emotional level, that might be my area, but I know that I have the support by the coaches, but I've decided to zip it about coaching them at all on the soccer level.
I think that's great advice, and probably I could be reminded of that a time or two.
Agreed.
I don't play soccer. We talked about this before. I think we've all been watching it enough to know when mistakes are made. And I think that's a great reminder that maybe we should try to avoid the coaching and leave that to the coaches. And I'm guessing that if Coach Athena is listening to this, she's probably going to tell us to leave it to her too. But I love your perspective that it's our job to coach them on the emotions. I think sometimes, though, it's hard to coach an emotion. How do you coach emotions without telling your boys to not have them? How do you coach them through it when they just need to feel it? I don't know. I haven't figured out how
situational. I think just allowing them to feel it. They need to be able to feel those emotions to learn how to cope with them. I think our society nowadays, not just nowadays, but just tells boys that they're not allowed to have emotion. And I definitely don't do that with Roman. Have the emotion, but have it appropriately. You need to learn how to have appropriate, in a society emotion. He can't go around pushing people because he's mad, right? He needs to learn how to take those emotions, feel them, but feel them appropriately, which, he's getting there. He's getting there.
I feel like it's situational, and also it depends on the kid. With CJ and Cross, I feel like talking's a little bit easier with CJ. I can actually like understand what he's trying to tell me, articulate. And I'm like, oh, are you probably feeling da 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 da? And he's like, yeah, I guess so. But with Cross, we developed this habit with him early on that we read from a book is he used to have a little diagram 1 to 10. And 1 was like it's like a frustration chart basically. And he got to choose what a 1 to all the numbers were. And if he was feeling something, because he just didn't know how to explain it. And his anger was actually coming out when he was actually sad. Mm-hmm. And so early on, it would be like, what are you feeling? And like, 1 is like, you can't find a shoe. 10 is someone passed away. Mm-hmm. And he would tell me like a 5 or a 6. And then I'd be like, what do you need for that? Mm-hmm. A hug, have to go run, go hit the punching bag, something. So just on that level, having 2 different kids in different situations, that's kind of where we kind of gave them each their own ways to figure it out,
Yeah. With Xander, his frustrations and his feelings come out in tears a lot of the times. Mm-hmm. And we've had a lot of conversations about like ways he can try and manage that. If he can have some sort of ritual around it to, just take a deep breath or, take certain steps to try and recenter himself. But it does pop up, pretty frequently for him. And he's actually pretty introspective when I've talked to him about it. He sees it as like his, which is great. And I want him to keep this perspective, but he sees it as like his superpower. And I love that he thinks that way. It's funny. One day he called me upstairs. He had found some YouTube video, and he wanted to show it to me. And it was about people who have big emotions. And it's so true. It's so him. And he is such a sweet and such a kind boy. And, there's a lot of place for that. But it's also hard to just figure out where that belongs on a soccer field, right?
Was that a little bit foreign to you or Josh, or do one of you come from big emotions like that? Or how did you guys figure that out to support Xander?
Josh and his mom both tell me that it comes from him.
Okay.
And that when he was younger, he was more emotional like that, which is probably hard to picture, right? Because he's a pretty even-keeled guy, right? And I understand that when he was younger, he was very similar in that way. Okay. So, a lot of it's just maturity and growing. And I'm hoping that just means he'll be in touch with his emotions as he gets older. And it's just, right now in this season, something he's got to figure out how to manage on his own.
Was Josh the first to kind of know how to support Xander better? Or did you both kind of just like support each other to support him?
That's a good question. I would say it's changed over time. I think probably I was the first when he was younger. And it's funny, but when Xander was younger, I think it was harder for Josh to relate to, even though that was probably how he was when he was younger. But as he's gotten older and he's just matured and he's able to articulate himself so well, now I think Josh can kind of apply his own experiences and kind of help talk him through it. And I also think like he's getting to the age now where, dad's cool and, dad can give him a certain comfort and familiarity that, mom can't necessarily.
Do you feel like that's where Roman's at too with dad? Because I have to say that CJ has kind of gotten to that point now where it's kind of a little bit more gravitation, and I'm like, I miss you.
100%.
Yeah, okay.
100%.
So I wonder if it's like the age.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you don't need mom anymore. No, I'm just kidding.
All right.
So we have a lot more to talk about, but I think we might have to cut this one off, and we'll have a part 2 that we'll post next Tuesday where we'll get into a little bit more on this topic. But thank you, ladies, for being so vulnerable.
Yes, a lot of heavy stuff to talk about today.
For our listeners, we'd like to hear from you what it is that you do when you notice your kid is struggling.
Until next time,
See you on the sidelines.